Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Question today is there enough diversity in the gun community? So there's been this concern for some time about um, about what the gun community consists of, like who are its members. I think there's a stereotype that the gun community is primarily or that it's exclusively all white guys from the South. Nothing couldn't be any further from furthest from the truth. The gun community, if anything, I would say that it's heavily diverse. Um, it's divert, but not in the way that people think of the term when they hear the term diversity. The gun community is diverse in thought. It's diverse in opinions. It's there are so many different options, so many different questions, so many different debates that people have within the gun community for it to be labeled as something that's monolithic. AR versus AK. Glock versus 1911. Who's cool enough for an HK? How many yeet cannons is this gun worth? Nines versus 45s. Who's still buying 40 nowadays? What else? Will a 22 kill you dead? Revolvers versus autoloaders. Who is still buying bolt action shotguns? There's a endless amount of questions, endless amount of thoughts and opinions that people share in the gun community, in person and online. For it to be called monolithic, for it to be thought of as just being, for a bunch of old white guys. I think that's a stereotype, and you got to think about who pushes that. Who pushes that stereotype? Primarily, I think it's pushed by people who belong to groups that are who claim to be more diverse and inclusive and open, and they're so welcoming of different groups, of different segments of the population. But the gun community is heavily diverse. It's heavily diverse of thought, which is good, which it should continue to do. It should continue to encourage people who are independent thinkers, people who are those who can think on their own. Because you think about buying a firearm or carrying a firearm, keeping a firearm for home defense, or even certain knives, or just arms in general. You think about just think about that aspect of that I'm not gonna call it a hobby, but that lifestyle. It relies heavily on the person who's doing it to have the final say in what they're doing. I don't like Glock handguns, for example. I personally I personally don't think they're ergonomic. I don't like the way they feel in my hand. I don't like the controls. But many other people out there do, and that's good. They like it. I love it. If that's what they want to carry. Cool. I'm happy for them. Carry what you want to like. Not everybody wants to carry, a nearly 3 pound hunk of tank shrapnel. That's my decision. That's what I'm comfortable with. And I won't shame anybody who wants to carry Tupperware. Just like they won't shame anybody who wants to be, who wants to carry an old FUD gun. And that's another thing. We can make fun of each other. In the gun community, we make fun of each other constantly. Glock boys, Glock fanboys, fuddy duddies in their single stack 1911s. Operators, the mall ninjas. We're constantly poking fun at one another, and that's something you can only do if you have people who are diverse, people who think differently, people who can stand on their own and deliver and throw banter back and forth. That's what the gun community is full of. And that's what I like about it. It does what many of these other groups that pride themselves in their own version of diversity. It does what they don't do. It encourages, the gun community encourages independent thought. It encourages independent action, and it encourages honesty. Okay, let's be real. There is a risk associated with getting into this. is not easy. It's not cheap. But it's made aware to anyone who's new that, listen, these are the risks that are associated with with doing this, but it has a payoff. You know, you're learning a new skill. You're defending yourself. You're helping out your community. You can come to someone else's aid if they need it. You're becoming more well versed about your local laws. You're setting yourself up to where you're not easily taken advantage of by someone who by predatory individuals. And that's something I can say that you can see in the gun community that you really don't see in these other inclusive groups. Because I can tell you what, actually, one thing right now. Those other groups, those groups that act like they're so diverse, they're so woke, they're so welcoming of people that outside. No, they're not. For one, they pander. All right. And if you're confused about what I mean by pandering, think of a pimp-hoe relationship. As a pimp, as a pimp, I'm not a pimp, but I'm definitely not a hoe. What they do is they go, as what a pimp does, looks for particular individuals who are weak, who are insecure, who are broken, who can't think for themselves, who don't know their self-worth, and they exploit all of those things to make them believe that, listen, if you don't want to feel this, if you don't want to feel this way, and remember, it's feel, not think. You don't want to feel this way. Come over to us. But keep in mind, but you have to think like us. Which they don't say that, but it's later found out you gotta think like us. You gotta say the exact same. You gotta believe in the exact same slogans. You gotta say use the exact same talking points. You cannot think outside of the group. It's collectivism in its purest form, a pimp-hoe relationship. And it's unfortunate because it works. It really does work. It doesn't work on people who ask questions. People who ask a lot of questions. People who want to be informed. They want a diverse array of opinions. They want different avenues of information. It does not work on them because they are quick to point out inconsistency, and when they voice their opinion, they're not going to back down from it. They're not going to take being told to shut up and fall in line very well. They're going to say, so fuck you. I'm going to think what I want to think, and that's that. And these other groups, no. As soon as they exclude, they'll resort to name calling, and they'll exclude someone. They'll threaten to exclude someone if they start to think outside of the group, which works pretty well because those type of individuals that I mentioned, they feel naked, they feel helpless if they don't have that warmth and sense of community from the people that they subscribe to be around. But once they exclude them, they'll be begging to come back because they knew what to tap into to get them to fall in line, to get them to be a nice little sheep or a zombie or what have you, or get them to be a nice hoe. They may get slapped around every now and then, but hey, they're gonna come back because they see no other way outside of the group. It's like fascism, basically. And it's like I said, it's very unfortunate. But on the other side, where you say that the gun community, they don't pander. Now you do have some types that do they try to, but they're quick to be called out. They're quick to be called out and pointed out by others, especially on YouTube. And especially in person, they're quick to be called out and warn, and they're quick to warn others. Hey, listen, stay away from them. They're wolves in sheep clothing. They're trying to steer you in a direction that actually is for their benefit and not and to your detriment. So we have those policing figures in the gun community, and it's good. We should encourage that. Because that shows that we're looking out for any new people who may be vulnerable. The gun community does appeal to people who are vulnerable, people who have been taken advantage of, people who have been abused, and they're trying to get a greater sense of things, so that they can figure out what happened to them and figure out how not to let it happen to them again. So yeah, so you know, we would attract people like that. But in the process of, you know, getting them into this, you know, in this new way, this new lifestyle, this new way of thinking, we're encouraging them to be independent. We're encouraging them to be people who can stay on their own. We're encouraging them to be able to defend themselves. That's another thing that these groups that pander, they want you to be defenseless. They want you to not be able to stand on your own. They want you to be solely dependent on that group, that ideology, and nothing else. They want you to feed. They want you to feed and feed on it and thirst for it constantly. But the gun community is not like that. They're flat out honest with you about the risk. You know, you're going to be alienated by people. You're going to face harassment. People are going to think you're weird. Some people are not going to want to talk to you. People are going to want to call you all these names. They're going to want to, you know, even beat you up. Which for some strange reason, you have people, the anti-gun types. They'll yell and scream and argue and want to fight people who is strapped, or who more likely is strapped. Like I said, it's crazy, you know, how hard they fight for the ideology. But that's because that's all they have. All they have is their ideology. They have no independent thought whatsoever, and that's unfortunate. Can they break from it? It's highly difficult. You know, but I would say that experience is the best teacher in that instance, and sometimes it may take multiple doses. So I would say that the gun community does not need to pander, does not need to make emotional appeals, does not need to use all these underhanded tactics that these other groups use to add more to their numbers. All the gun community needs to do is just be honest. Above all else, be honest. Be open. Be welcoming. Be warm. You know, and be charitable. And by charitable, I mean, like, you know, and this is constantly said. If anyone who wants to learn how to shoot, often take them to the range. I'm doing it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I have a gun. I have that taken care of. I got the ammo. I got targets. You know, I got markers. I got safety equipment. I got everything that's needed to, you know, to go to the range and have a good time, to enjoy yourself. I already have that stuff supplied. I mean, I'm happy to supply it. You know, I've had times when people give me money to help take care, you know, like ammo, or they'll pay for the range time. And that's cool. But it all started with me and you, offering to do a charitable service by teaching them, by supplying what's needed for the lessons, and that's all we need to do. You know, I would say that the people who are turned off by that kind of stuff, they're the ones who they're not quite there yet. They're not quite they don't think on their own, right away, or they're afraid to question the things that's been drilled into their head because you know, to have your reality have your, you know, what you think is reality dismantled, you know, to flip upside down. It can be traumatizing, but in the end, it actually is beneficial because you're no longer gonna lie. You know, you took the red pill, so to speak. But that's it. That's all I want to say. Please tell me what you think. Do you think the gun community needs to adopt any of the methods that other groups do, or is it doing the right thing right now? It just needs more of its members to continuously do it, continuously offering this charity, continuing to be honest, continue to be open and warm, and all these things that we know that fosters independent thought. You know, that fosters people to be strong, strong to stand on their own, but also strong enough and honest enough to know when they need help. Because, you know, we all can't all do it on our own. We all need each other's back. You know, we need somebody to watch our six. But that's my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell so you can stay up to date to any new videos that are made on this channel. If you're new to the channel, please, I want to say welcome. Check out my older videos and look forward to new videos to come. If you want to help contribute to the channel, to help with new projects and things like that, go to my homepage on YouTube. Look for the give up that cheese button. It'll take you to PayPal, and you can donate any amount you would like. Any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I see what I can do to address them. That's my video. Diversity in the gun community. I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care, stay safe, and God bless.